Hi everyone, I am Fifi McLeod and I'm also Fifi the Paper Crafter. I'm just going to give everyone a minute to come in. We're all celebrating Joy's event today, a day filled with joy with live videos. So I'm going to go ahead and I just want to make sure this is completely in focus here. I'll give everyone a minute to come in. And I want to explain quickly, very quickly, all about inks. So this is basically how to use everything, differences, comparisons, and that sort of thing. I have all of the Distress Oxides, but I'm slowly picking up all of the Distress inks. So I just want to quickly explain everything. Here we go. If I push up, everyone can see what I have here. So these are all the sprays that I have. And I'm just going to give a quick demo here once everyone comes in. Hi, Joy. Thanks for joining me. Hi, T. Thanks for joining. Okay, I'm going to get started right away. So basically, I have 5 different types of stamping ink in front of me. And these are my go-tos. So these are the very best inks that you can buy on the market for stamping. Versamark Watermark stamp pad is my go-to for heat embossing. This is the best one I've ever bought. I've had this one 8 years and I have never re-inked it and it's still super sticky. And I just get really good even coverage when especially when I'm using my Tim Holtz or my large stamps. I literally just go in and that's when I'm heat embossing. So I can't recommend this enough. Versamark Watermark stamp pad for all things heat embossing. And the second one I want to talk about is Stazon. And as you guys can see, I don't really stamp on plastic too much, so I haven't really played with this. But this is another good one if you're stamping on plastic, vellum, or you want to stamp on something with a non-porous surface. This is the best thing that you can use for that because it's permanent ink, kind of like, I would compare this almost to like a Sharpie, if that makes sense in terms of how that ink plays and works. Once it goes on, it's permanent and it doesn't wipe or rub off. And it's a solvent ink, so I just wanted to share that. So that's good for stamping on things like vellum, plastic, acetate, anything like that. So for example, if you're doing like a window envelope and you want to put little butterflies or something in you want to stamp something in your window, that's what I would recommend for that. Then we come down to these 3. And this one here, I really love how VersaFine inks look. They are a pigment ink and they're great for, and they say specifically, fine details. But the only problem with this is, yes, it's a beautiful ink. So this is okay if you're going to stamp something and you're going to leave it alone. This is not something that you're going to be able to stamp with and come in with either distress, sprays, inks, crayons, or anything water-based or alcohol-based. It's going to smear and smudge all over the place. So I just wanted to share that. You're going to get a beautiful detailed stamp from these. From the VersaFine, but you are not going to get that archival finish that you're looking for. So basically, then it comes down to these 2 inks. So these are my absolute favorite, guys, for stamping, because Ranger Archival and Memento are both archival ink, and they go down permanently when you stamp. And you can come in with all of your water-based products, like I said, your inks, your oxides, your sprays, your mica sprays, and it's not going to move or budge. And the only difference between Ranger Archival and Memento is that your alcohol markers. So if you're looking for an ink to use with your alcohol markers, Ranger Archival ink is going to smear and smudge all over the place, and you're going to want to use Memento fade resistant dye ink. So that's how I kind of categorize my inks. These are the 5 types that I use. And they're pretty much, and I mean, I have them in black, right? I don't have them in any other colors because these are kind of, black's my go-to. So, you know, you stamp a beautiful image, and I like to come in and I like to do watercoloring and different things with it. So those are the inks that I use. Then I want to get into the differences between ink and oxide. So as you guys can see, the pads look totally different. So one is a dye ink, that's the distress ink, and your distress oxide is a pigment ink. And the difference is, with Victorian Velvet or any of the colors, you're going to get whatever your color is in one tone. And when you're inking, you have to build up your surface. And you're going to say, Fifi, what on earth does that mean? So I'm going to show you. And it doesn't matter, guys. It only matters when I go into an oxide. So this has the ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my distress ink, as you guys will see. So again, you have to build up, and I'll show you the difference with the same amount of ink that I'm using. So that's your distress ink. And then here is your distress oxide. And I'll just literally come in beside it. So if you guys can see, sorry guys, I've got decoupage stuff all over my table. So if you guys can see the difference between the ink and the oxide, I do very little to build up my layers with the oxide, and you have to build on your layers to build up the distress ink. So the distress ink is wonderful if you want something light, and it plays more like a watercolor. So for example, when I take my water and I spray it, it's going to move and react just like, if you guys can see that, just like it is watercolor. Where the oxide, each and every single one of the oxide pads and the oxide sprays are infused with a secondary color. So when I spray it, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to react very much the same way as the ink, but as you can see, and we'll see that as soon as it starts to oxidize, it has undertones of purple, if you guys can see that, where the ink does not. The ink is always going to be the Victorian Velvet color, whereas the Distress Oxide has undertones of purple. Each and every single one of the oxides are like that. Vintage Photo has undertones of yellow. Another example would be your Crackling Campfire. It looks like this with undertones of yellow. So each of them are all infused with a different color, and both the inks and the oxides, the Distress Oxide pads and the ink and the actual sprays work very much the same way in terms that they're all infused with the undertones of another color. So just wanted to explain that. Now I want to go ahead and I want to show you some of the sprays. And these are a lot of fun to play with, guys. They're messy, but I find that less is more with these. And they're all water reactive, so you can kind of create different color combinations. And I can turn around and I can cut this into tags, or I can cut this into die cuts. This would actually make really pretty florals. So I think for this one, we'll go in with some more pink. So, and you can mix and match them too. So you can do some stuff in your actual ink pad. Or you can come in with your sprays. So this one here is Picked Raspberry. And I have one of these handy. There we go, just for wiping up any mess. You want to make sure that all of your product is completely off the bottom before you go ahead and spray. And you don't want a bullseye. You want something that's more of like a flicking motion, kind of like this. You guys can see that. And I'm just coming in. There we go. So we have a little bit of pink. And I like to wipe them off. That one's a bit of a mess. There we go. And we could come in with some speckled egg. And this is how I like to create different backgrounds and things. You can come in with your stencils. So that's something else I'll show in a second. And then there's undertones of that there. And I have here, nope, yep, Fossilized Amber. I have that one here. That was antique linen. It's a little light. That's great for doing like vintage things. So then you can come in over here, just a little bit up in the corner like that. So as you guys can see, and we're going to get a really nice blend as we keep going. And it gives you that nice sprayed speckly look. So that's what I love about it. And you can create different splatters and different things. And then we're going to come in with our water, and I have a distress sprayer. And that's what I love about it. It's just very light. And we go ahead and we pick it up. And we move it all around. A little bit more water there. There we go. And we watch the magic happen. And because it is, as I mentioned, the oxide spray, it is going to have undertones of the colors that each are infused with. So as you can see over here, Fossilized Amber has the undertones of browns, picked raspberry purples, and the blue has undertones of grays. There we go. I want more of a, just like that. And I can put that one aside to dry. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, so, I mean, I use these for mixed media, for doing backgrounds to tags. Again, you can make different backgrounds on your cardstock, and then when everything's dry, you can cut your dies. So I love doing that, cutting different die shapes and things. And when this dries, we'll play with some of the mica stains. So Tim released for Halloween and Christmas his Distress Mica stains. So I have the Halloween one. So I have Hocus Pocus, Empty Tomb, Flickering Candle, Jack-o'-lantern, Bubbling Cauldron, and I have Crooked Broomstick. So these are a lot of fun too, and I will show you once that's dry the kind of effect that they make over top. And the other thing I wanted to do is show you guys, I recently found Seth Apter. So this is one of my new favorite products. This is his Zink dye spray, and it's fast drying and no clog. So that makes me happy, guys, because a lot of the Tim Holtz, as you can see with the picked raspberry, I've got a clog. So now I have to take out my sprayer, and I have to run it through warm water to unclog it. Whereas Seth Apter sprays, and as you can see the container difference, 80 milliliters compared to 57 milliliters, 2.7 full ounces. And yeah, 1.9 full ounces and 57 milliliters for the Distress Oxide sprays. So his spray would be more comparable to, and I only have one here, and I have it in silver. Yeah, the Distress spray stains. So basically, guys, with Tim Holtz Distress Oxide sprays and spray stains, the oxide sprays are like the spray version of your Distress Oxides, like the pads, and the Distress Spray stains are like your ink pads. So that's the difference. And these oxidize with an undertone of a different color, and these do not. They just play like your Distress inks, which are more have that watercolor effect. Okay, now I want to come in with Seth. Oh, and these are also made in France. Just wanted to share that. So these are Seth Apter's Zinc dye sprays. And I absolutely love this color, if you guys can see. So this is super vintage and nice and chocolatey coffee. And that's what it's called, coffee. Coffee. That's the color of it. And then I like to play with Tim Holtz Vintage Photo. So just to show you a comparison of what the colors are like. So this is something I could do more vintage. And here we go. We have Vintage Photo Distress Oxide Spray. And we're just going to come in kind of like this. There we go. And then I can add some water. Oxidize it. And as I mentioned, guys, there's the undertones of the yellow coming through for the Vintage Photo. And then I just want to come back in with Seth Apter spray. So if you're not happy and you want to make it more grungy or give it some more something, you can come back in, and then slow spurts will give you big splatters. So if you're spraying it and doing like a little flick motion, it's going to give you little ones. But if you like kind of give it a bullseye, then you're going to be able to have bigger splatters. So I can go ahead and I can let this dry, or I could come in with a heat tool. So if you come in with a heat tool, it's just going to give you instant dry. Just for the sake of this quick demo tonight, I don't think everybody wants to listen to my heat tool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide this one back in. Sorry guys, I hope I'm in focus. That's probably better. I'll move up. Yeah, I need to pull up. And I can probably, there we go. Pull up, pull down. There we go. Sorry guys. So again, this is that super grungy one that I did. I'm getting almost that rusty color here from the Seth Apter spray. You know, I can do it one more time to show you guys. Sorry, I wasn't in frame. I have a horrible habit of pulling everything close to me. So again, guys, the Seth Apter spray, amazing. And it's just going to give you that super grungy, looks like coffee. And just to compare, this is the Oxide spray. So this is just going to give you more of that brown color, and it oxidizes with the undertones of the yellow. So again, just, yep. And then just, yeah, plays so well. So that's where I'm getting all this rusty color from, that dark brown all in here. That's all from the Seth Apter spray. And the lighter, more chalky kind of color is coming from the Distress Oxide spray. And I got some on here, and that's okay. So now, again, I want to make sure I'm in focus. Here we go. Now I want to play with some of these colors. So same thing, guys, we have to shake it. And they all have that same little ball on the bottom that our oxides have, so they're making this ticking noise. And you want to make sure that all your mica is off the bottom. So we just have to make sure that they have a really good spray. Now I want to show you too. Tim has 3 regular ones that are part of the regular line, his mica sprays. So these are different, guys. Mica spray and mica stain. So mica spray are clear, if you guys can see that. It's a clear liquid with mica in it. So I'll show you the difference between these two. So this one's antique bronze, I have brushed pewter, and I have tarnished brass. So these are a 3-pack that you can get from Ranger Ink. And I'll show you tarnished brass, just to compare some of these. And so these are part of the everyday line. These are not. The mica stains are no longer available. And these were a one and done at there was two Christmas sets, and I have the 2 sets of 3 for Halloween. Okay, I have one that I haven't opened yet. Are they both? No, I've opened that one. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to give these a really good shake up. Make sure that all my mic is off the bottom on both. Here we go. So this one here is Flickering Candle. So I just want to come in just to show you guys kind of how it works. And it's literally, guys, splatters of shimmery mica goodness. If you guys can see that. So that is the Flickering Candle. And then this one here, what this one's going to do, this is great as like a top coat over top of your work. So sometimes you want to give your work like a little bit of shimmer. So let's pretend, like, for example, here, let's move this. I'll do this one over here. So let's kind of pretend like, you know, we have our whole thing going and we just want to give our final thing that little bit of like shimmer spray as like a top coat to make it shimmery. So that's what we've done here. And you can see anywhere where I've splattered that, it has that beautiful antique bronze shimmer. But this isn't going to go on like a thick ink or like an oxide or anything like that. It's basically clear with that mica in it. So what it's going to do is just make anything that it touches look shimmery and pop. So this would be a great thing to use over something like your Tim Holtz paper dolls. Or if you've got a nice little collage going and you just want to give it a little spritz of something, that's where I would use this. So just to kind of give you guys some inspiration and some ideas. The other one I have here is Crooked Broomstick. So we have this one here. That is our Flickering Candle. And if I cut some butterflies or some florals, this is going to be beautiful. Sorry guys, I want to push up. There we go. And again, we just want to make sure everything's off the bottom. Just give it another good shake. And I'm going to come in with Crooked Broomstick over here. Just a little bit. There we go. Just a little bullseye there. And as you guys can see, that gives me like a shimmering bronzy color. And then we have Jack-o'-lantern. So this is going to be like an orange. I can come in over here. And you can use this with your stencils and all kinds of things. And then I'm going to check my time. Okay, we've got 9:30. So we're okay for time right now. And then again, I want to show a little bit of these. Just to, yeah, they give it that amazing effect. So you'll see them as they dry. They're loaded with the mica. And they're just beautiful. So it just gives your work a little something. So now what I want to do, so this is really where the inks are going to shine. Because you're probably thinking, well, I have the ink pads and it's probably good enough and I can't really, you know, see myself using them too often. But for me, they're a staple and a go-to. I use them all the time. And I also use them with my jelly plate. So that's another big thing, using them with the jelly plate. And you can also use them with your paints. So I do a layer of paint and I do a layer of ink. And then you just keep building and building and building your layers. But this is really where they're going to shine. And I want to show you guys this. I have the Tim Holtz Moon Mask collection. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, whoops, I dropped a small one. I want to take the biggest one, which is just a mask. Okay? So this is where we're going to create our background. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my black soot. There we go, and I feel like it's been shaken up enough. There we go. I want that. Yeah, right like this. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is maybe take a little piece of washi tape. Sorry guys, just a teeny tiny little piece so it doesn't move on me. Yeah, let's do that right here. Tiny little piece of washi tape. And I can touch up wherever that is later. Okay, here we go. Then I can come in with black soot. So essentially guys, we're creating a night sky. So I'm going to give this bullseyes in each of my corners, kind of up like that. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with my Dusty Concord. And then I can come in kind of like that, like this towards the bottom, maybe that side. And then I want to come in with Stormy Sky, Chip Sapphire, sorry guys. Yeah, this is a really dark blue. Okay. There. So essentially that creates my background. And then what I like to do too is I can take my paper towel and I can just come in. It's kind of like a lift technique. And it's not going to have everything seeping wet. Okay, and then if I want to add, I can pull from here and add to my corner. There we go. So essentially, I have something that looks like this. And the great thing too, guys, about using Distress Inks and Oxides is that you rub them off your stencils. So now I can pick this up and I have something that looks like that. And now I want to come in with my very light antique linen. So this is just me removing the mask. Here we go, some antique linen. Like that. And the neat thing too, guys, if you can see, where I have literally just come in and sprayed that, it almost looks like the moon's rays, anywhere where I've just sprayed outside of my circle. So I just wanted to share that. So again, I'm coming in with my, there we go. Then I want to use the next one. So this is this one right here. So I can come in like this. And I want to use something darker. So I'm going to come in with my Spice Marmalade. And I want to do kind of more like a little bit of a bullseye with this, so I'm not getting it all over my sheet. There we go. And again, I'm going to lift this up, right like that. Oh, and I have a little bit here, and that's okay, because I've got something there. See if you get a little bit of yellow or orange in here. That's okay. Looks like the rays from the moon. Okay, and I'm going to grab a clean paper towel because mine's covered. Here we go. And again, just come in and lift. Perfect. And then I can come in with the smaller one, which is here. And I can do this more, maybe this way. And I could come in with my Flickering Candle. And it's a smaller bottle too, so this is just easier to manipulate with your hand. And I'm not going to get it everywhere, just where I want it. And same thing, a little piece of the corner of the paper towel, and we're going to move it all around. There we go. And then when we remove it, it looks something like that. So there we go, guys. That's how I would create a night sky and the moon. And I could come in with Fossilized Amber if I wanted to, too. I could flip this around this way. So if I want to have less of that, you can just mask it different ways. Maybe even, yeah, because I'm not really loving the, whoops, that orange. So I want to mask where I have a lot of that right like this, see? Yeah, we could do it this way. Make that a little bit more full. So I'm going to do this and come in with Fossilized Amber. Here we go, it's right in front of me. Because that's the darker yellow. Here we go. So again, just right in like that. Yeah, I think I like that better. There we go. So it gives me more yellow. And then for that little spot where I want to touch up, that I'm not too thrilled with at the top, you can come in with your ink blender, or you can just add some more spray. So again, I can take some black, and I can just, what you can do too, I'll show you. Actually, I have some on the mat. That's perfect. Because this is my other favorite thing to do with Distress Inks and Oxides. Just take a brush, and you just, and you come in with your brush. So if you guys can see, I've literally picked up what I have here off my mat and just come in with my brush. And I do, guys, I use Tim Holtz Gloss Media Matte. So I will literally take my ink pads and my oxide pads and my sprays, and I'll spray my mat and I'll swoosh them down, and I will pick everything up. And I watercolor paint with my stuff, with my product. So it's my favorite thing to watercolor paint with. And there you have it, guys. I literally created this beautiful night sky that I can use in a journal cover, or whatever. I could sew around it and do a little further mixed media piece. And we made that entirely out of our sprays and our moon mask stencil. So I just wanted to share that. So there's lots of ways that we can use our sprays and get it precise by using, you know, and I have lots of stencils, guys, like Tim Holtz and a bunch of them. And same thing, you just use a little bit of washi tape, stencil them down, and then you can put the images wherever you want them once they're taped down. And I like to do the same thing too when your actual stencil is completely covered in your spray. Then you can come in and you can spray a little bit of water on it with your distress sprayer. And then I like to do like an imprint. So then my stencil that's completely inked up, I will come in and I will do like prints. It's great for making envelopes and different things. So I just wanted to share that. Does anyone have any questions? Because I think, yeah, I've got about 10 more minutes. So I'll take any questions that anyone has about product. The best place to order this stuff, if you're in the US, is either scrapbooking.com. And I would check their site a lot because they have really great sales. And they will do free shipping if you're in the United States. And I order every spring and every fall from Ranger Ink. So I really love them as well. And then the other thing I like to do when I'm all done, so I'm just gonna like take everything a step back kind of thing off of my desk, off of my mat, further back, so I can catch all my mess. And I'll show you how to do that too. Because after I've sprayed this, I'm not going to wipe off my mat. I'm going to make magic. And this is how we do it. So now that I've got, I like to give it a little wipe. Tim recommends that you give them a little wipe. I think everything's got a lid. Yep. And these two. Spiced marmalade. And this one. There we go. And my stencils are over here in the corner. And some warm water for your stencils, guys, with this product, which is great. It's easy to clean up. And this is my favorite way to clean up a mess. I'll show you. Just take a little bit of your water. And I look at it this way too. Kind of like, you know how we do our jelly plates? And we clean up our mess after our jelly plate. Well, I like to do the same thing off my mat, where I come in and I'm literally collecting anything and everything that's on my desk. And sometimes this off print will be 1,000 times better and neater than what we created from spraying. And this is another great technique too. And again, when I feel like I'm a little dry, I just add some water and come in and pick it all up. So, and that's the other thing too, if you feel like you don't really want to, you know, you're not sure where to start by spraying your mat. That's another great thing too. The Tim Holtz mat comes with a little piece for the side. And it's specifically for inks. And Tim has all kinds of techniques that he does with that. Unfortunately, mine, I need to order a new one because I was working with Fabri-Tac. And you don't want to do that. And I got Fabri-Tac on it and it ate a hole in my mat. So I just wanted to share that. And the one product by Tim Holtz that I don't love that I have, and I'm not going to grab it, but it looks like his spray stain, but it's not, and it's another white product, and it's in the same kind of bottle, and it is called, no, Joy, this is 110, maybe not 10, 100-pound cardstock, so again, it'll have to be backed up with something else. Yeah, I think it's 100 pound. Or maybe it is 110. Yeah, 110 pound cardstock. So the other product that I want to talk about is for his resist technique. And I have other ways around that. I like to use gel medium. So if I want to take this and I want to create something that has the resist technique, I will come in with a stencil and put down gel medium through my stencil and let it dry, and then come in with my sprays and my inks and my oxides, because then it'll resist it. He has a product that's called resist spray, and it's essentially glue in a bottle, and I have not got that technique to work with the actual spray in the bottle, and it makes more of a mess than it does anything else. It is the worst thing to get off of your desk and off of your glass media mat. I needed a razor blade to actually scrape it off. So I just wanted to share that. That is one product that I don't love, and that's why. So just to save you guys some money and a lot of headache, because yeah, it took me hours to scrape it off my glass media mat. Nothing would take it off. Not soap and water, hand sanitizer. I even used nail polish remover. Nothing. I had to use a razor blade to scrape it off. It was horrible. So I just wanted to share that. And that's the resist spray. There we go. So that's super grungy, and I like that. So I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. And I've had most of these 2 years now. So, I mean, I use these quite often. So they're not really something I run out of, you know, right away. You know, I guess it's like your ink pads too, right? If you look after them and you're not clogging them up and making sure that, like, say I need to wipe all these. And I'll do, like, all my maintenance when I'm done. So just want to make sure that I'm wiping off like this, just a motion like that, so they're not inky. And make sure my lids are clean too, like just by doing one of these. That's good enough for maintenance, and I have them in a basket near my desk. No, it's a little thinner than it probably should be. I would recommend either like a mixed media cardstock, which is 120 pound. This one I think is 100 or 110. But again, I'll let it dry, and then I back it with coffee dyed paper or another piece of paper, and then I use it in my journal. And you don't need to seal them. Once they're dry, that's it. I mean, we're not usually getting our book wet, right? And if you do want to seal it, there's a product called Distress Mica Glaze, and I do have that as well. If I've got time. I've got 10 minutes. Okay. So I will show you guys that too. So this is, just give me 1 second and I will grab it. And I think I have a stamp here at my desk. I just have to get into here. Okay, it's not there. It's on my mixed media cart. I usually keep a lot of my products in my, my mixed media cart. I have like a rolling cart that I keep everything in. I just don't want to bump my camera. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Micro Glaze. Should be just right here. Yeah. Here we go. It's not something I use often. Distress Micro Glaze. So, what we're going to want to do with this, and I'll just take one of these and I'll show you guys. So if you want to make something waterproof, so for example, this is probably the best way for me to show you guys. So I have a little stamp here that says vintage. So it's just a little stamp here that says vintage. No. Okay, so I'm going to come into my, where is it? Here it is, my vintage photo, so you guys can see my distress ink. And it'll work with both your distress ink or oxide. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp it in vintage photo distress ink. So there you go. I've stamped vintage. That's a little small. Okay. Sorry guys, I don't have my bigger stamps at my desk. They're all in baskets at my... There. So now what we're going to do, so we have two. So if you guys can see that, they both say vintage. Teeny tiny. Super cute. So one, we're going to treat in Distress Micro Glaze. So basically, it kind of reminds me, and it even smells like a lip balm. That's kind of what it reminds me of. So we're going to kind of treat it like it's a lip balm. So we're just going to put our finger in like this, and just, remember, I don't have long nails. So just gently, I'm going to, just get my fingertip. If you can see that, my fingertip's coated. And then what I'm going to do is come in, and I'm going to rub that completely over the area. Okay? And this has done two things, if you can see that. It's kind of made it a little bit more clear. Like it's more vibrant than the other one. And then what it's done as well is sealed it in. So I'm just going to keep rubbing it. There we go. And now I'm going to add water. And I'll add water to both of them. So when we add water, and then we come in with this and we blot. And it's easier to see on a bigger stamp. The distress ink will bleed, and the one treated with the microglaze will not. So then, and this is where you're really going to see it, okay? So we've just sprayed it with water, and this is another little technique from Tim Holtz too, to spray your surface with water before you actually come in and spray it with your stuff, and it's the same color. So then we're going to spray one like this and like that. And as you can see, our distress over here is non-existent. I just need to blot. There we go. And this one here is completely protected. So if you have an area that you absolutely do not want to cover with your spray, or your stains, or your oxide sprays, or your spray stains, a little microglaze, and it made it completely waterproof, if you guys can see that. So, yeah. And the other one now has faded to the background, and because I wet it, I could smear it off. So that's the difference. It does. And it completely coats it permanently. So I could keep adding layers and layers and layers and layers. So I could continue, and I could try to bullseye it with another color, and I could keep going. So if you have an area that you do not want to cover up, like stamping or something, then that's what I would recommend to use, a little bit of microglaze. And this, again, guys, very small container. It's 1 full ounce, 30 milliliters, but you barely use anything. Tiny little bit on your finger, and it'll cover like a whole area. So it's not something I use a lot, but it is something handy to have. So it's a great little product if you want to seal something in. So like, for example, if you had a die cut that you wanted to that was perfect, and you wanted to seal the whole thing in because you had already glued it to something, but you wanted to spray the background or do something with the background that you forgot, then I would use, micro glaze, and it won't affect your work. And the other thing, waterproof too, I wanted to share, if you're doing heat embossing. So for example, if I went ahead and I heat embossed my papers before I actually did inking, well, you can ink up over top of them and it acts as a resist. So heat embossing as well. So if I wanted to do an image in whatever color of embossing ink, it's like basically like dried plastic once it's heat embossed, and then you can come in with your sprays and your inks and it resists all of that. So I just wanted to share that. So that's what we've done. And then the other one is right here. So this is now dry. And I'm really happy with that. And we have that little bit of mica. So again, we created that entirely out of sprays. And it's really neat too how we get that effect. So if we go off a little bit, it looks like the moon's rays. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, if anyone has any mixed media questions, I'm happy to help. All right, thank you so much, everyone. And you guys have a great night. And thanks, Joy, for having me. Thanks, everyone. Bye.